JIT was announced in the 1970s and brought about a new production method known as JIT for high-mix, low-volume market-friendly production. This book provides a detailed explanation of the process of JIT development, the practical aspects of its use, and even the current SCM that, together with IT networks, works with partner companies to support JIT in the market. The reason this book is called Basic is because it includes important basic elements such as layout design and information layout, design support, making JIT and SCM usable in many manufacturing industries. It is our hope that readers will make effective use of these measures. As you all know, the automobile industry, one of the major pillars of American production, is represented by the conveyor line of the Ford I, as shown in the figure. This method mass-produces the same cars, which is essentially a representative form of economics that says, the more you make, the cheaper it is, and has been the basic structure of other industries for a long time. In the 1950s, Toyota was making domestically produced cars in Japan, and sales were finally getting on track. However, at the same time, the Dodge line, a monetary tightening policy, was implemented, and Toyota, which manufactured trucks, suddenly fell into the red. At that time, Toyota's Taiichi Ohno, who later became the company's vice president, investigated companies around the world to find ways to improve profits. But when he returned to Japan without finding any solutions, he visited a supermarket hoping to buy a souvenir. However, he couldn't find the product he wanted, so he asked the clerk. He was inspired by the words, "We'll put in as much as you need," and came up with the idea of, "Let's make only cars that sell using a back-end pull production method." When Ohno returned to Japan, he told his employees about his ideas for a post-processing method that had never been seen before in the industrial world. In response to this request, Mr. Suzumura, who was the head of the manufacturing department, gathered the relevant parties and proceeded with the development of JIT, a new production method. The specific measures for JIT were all completely new to the industrial world. For this reason, they came up with their own ideas, selected successful methods from many failures, and spread them throughout the company, which eventually led to JIT being known throughout the industrial world. However, as this timeline shows, it took 15 years to systematize JIT. Mr. Nakamura heard directly about the process of Toyota's development at a presentation given by Mr. Suzumura when he attended a Toyota factory tour in 1977. Toyota had employed employees under contracts that did not allow them to be laid off even if the company was in the red, but in the 1950s, Toyota was ordered to lay off 3,000 of its 8,000 employees, and the Nagoya branch of the Bank of Japan provided financial assistance. As shown in the timeline you saw earlier, Toyota established the JIT system shown in this diagram, which produces only cars that can be sold by pickup at the downstream process. In the 1970s, while many Japanese companies were suffering from losses during the oil shock recession, Toyota showed high profits. Toyota JIT has many countermeasures, and the book I'm introducing here provides a detailed explanation of each method. However, since I don't have enough time to cover them here, I'll show in this figure the effect of Mr. Shingo, who was guiding Toyota, making it possible to inexpensively replace a 2-ton press die within 10 minutes. The top table on the right side of this figure shows the calculations. The setup time is 8 hours, so the more you make, the cheaper it will be. The bottom table shows the effect of preventing setup time from causing unnecessary equipment downtime, even when producing a large variety of small quantities, which is the result of a single setup. When you hear about the revolutionary improvement of replacing the dies of a large press weighing 2 tons in just 5 minutes by 2 people, instead of 8 hours, you would imagine that it would have been necessary to make a huge investment to modify the press itself or improve the design. However, the measures that Mr. Shingo and the people working on Toyota's manufacturing sites came up with were all inexpensive ideas, as shown in this diagram. For this reason, when Toyota introduced this solution, it quickly spread to companies around the world that had similar problems. JIT is one of the improvement methods aimed at improving production efficiency, but manufacturing should maximize the effects of JIT based on an optimal layout. This book begins with an explanation of the contents, explaining the results of Toyota's JIT development and how each company applies it to the manufacturing of their products. As each company applied JIT to their industries, as shown in the figure below, many changes were made, not only reducing work in progress and inventory and shortening production times, but also changing the way new products are developed. When Toyota JIT started, Toyota was divided into an automobile sales company and an automobile manufacturing company, and at the same time, there was a restriction that the automobile manufacturing company could not produce any cars other than those that were being sold. In essence, a method was followed in which only the number of cars equivalent to the number of cars sold was produced, according to the orders of Toyota Motor Sales Company, using a post-process withdrawal method. This method created an effective production environment called leveled production on the automobile manufacturing company side, and was useful in the birth of the Kanban system and the development of many JIT methods. As the simulation shown in this figure clearly shows, due to the background involved in this production environment, this JIT production method with little fluctuation in orders is not entirely effective for other product manufacturing companies. However, one consulting firm, without conducting the above analysis, proposed a method of applying Toyota JIT as it was, calling it the lean production method and touting turnkey production to many companies. As a result, and because Toyota had revolutionized production to an extreme extent, many companies adopted the method. However, as can be seen from the simulation results above, each company's production management method is unique along with its product manufacturing method. This consulting firm and the companies that introduced JIT ignored this extremely basic natural law in production, so the adoption rate was only around 6%. I have explained the details of this type of problem in detail in my book, so I think it will be helpful to readers. JIT was born at Toyota Motor Manufacturing Company, and has brought about many production and cost innovations within the Toyota Group. Later, Mr. Michael Dell, founder and president of Dell, began assembling and selling personal computers in his garage, and his idea was to use the JIT method, including partner companies. This method involves receiving orders online, making personal computers that meet customer needs, requesting payment at the same time as the order is placed, and delivering them in about 2 days. This method was later named SCM, and not only did it take a large part of the market from major companies that had been producing computers up until that point, it also created an opportunity to revolutionize the production and sales methods in the personal computer industry. In Japan, the company also manufactured and sold socks, but in a similar format to Dell. Tabio's president, Mr. Oki, materialized SCM. The manufacturing and sales of socks used to be in the format shown on the left side of the diagram. In essence, the wholesaler would place large orders with sock manufacturers based on their forecasts and sell the products. This resulted in a market where inventory was always left unsold and sold at low prices. In response to this, this company created the format shown on the right side of the diagram. This was an SCM system in which the company had direct sales outlets and used barcodes to manage the manufacturing and sales of each product together with partner companies. This resulted in high profits during the Japanese recession in 2000, and many visitors from the United States came to study. Generally, JIT refers to measures taken by one company, whereas SCM refers to a form of production and sales individually to major companies, dealers, and sometimes to the web. JIT and SCM are about selling only the necessary products when they are needed and in the amount needed, without wasteful production, in response to changing customer needs, and from the standpoint of production management, their objectives are the same. If production and sales were carried out smoothly in this form, there would be no problem. But recently we have entered an era in which unpredictable production fluctuations and natural disasters like those shown in this photo suddenly strike companies and sales destinations. Therefore, in this book, we have included measures shown in this figure to deal with such risks, and I hope that readers will take measures as necessary. Thank you very much for watching the introduction to this Kindle book. The above explanation is the gist of this picture book. You can also get it at this URL. Amazon Prime members can watch it for free.